Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Tennecoma. Going to do one cast today. I'm going to start throwing. This is one of Dwayne's jerk baits. It's like a Mega Bass 110 plus 1. And I got to hurry up and start throwing because I'm right where I want to be. I don't throw these baits much. And I'll probably get rebuked for not throwing it correctly when Dwayne sees this, but this is how I normally work a jerk bait, so. This is a suspending bait. So when you crank it down, it goes down 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet. And then when you stop jerking it, it's supposed to stay in that level of the water. That's what they mean by suspending. Pretty good sized bait. And the idea is it's kind of like a jig. You jig it up, you give it some action, and then you stop it. That's generally when you get the bite, is when you stop it. Sometimes. This has got braid on the reel. It's a pretty stiff rod. It's a loose rod. And I started above the narrows, a couple hundred yards, just about down to the narrows right now. This has been a pretty popular spot for Dwayne and his clients catching fish. I just had to follow. Couldn't tell what it was. Get away from the bank again. I think we've thrown this once or twice on one cast before. We don't do it that much because you can throw this bait for an hour and get one bite. You're not going to get a whole lot of bites, but when you do get one, generally a little bigger fish, has a potential of catching a real big fish. Back off a little bit more. Oop. Keep it out of the trees. When you jerk it, you want to keep the line kind of loose. Keep some slack on the line. So when you jerk it, it really kind of jerks that lure around instead of pulling it. Guys, fish, springtime is a big time in the lakes like Table Rock and Bull Shoals to fish jerk baits for bass. And then guides like Buster are throwing jerk baits right now in Bull Shoals for big walleye. Been doing really good. That's a wintertime bite. As you can see, it's a lot of work. Now, if you're going to go out and buy one of these baits, he just had me text a guy that was wondering what to buy. That it's a Megabass 110 plus 1. It's an expensive bait. He said in an LG bone color. And there's another color. I'll have to look at my phone. In fact, I'll just put it on the screen. I can't remember what it was. We fish, I fish, I don't fish. Dwayne fishes this ideally in current when they're running water. Ideally early and late in the day or on a cloudy days like today. And you can throw these about any place on the lake and catch fish, but here recently this has been a hot spot through the Narrows. It's always got fish in it. Up below the dam from the cable down to the third outlet's been pretty hot, and a few places downstream. But you just never know, I mean, where these big fish are sitting. You catch primarily browns. You know, I shouldn't say that. He might catch a lot of rainbows on this, but as far as the big fish you're hunting, most of them are going to be browns. It's my last cast here, and I'm going to run down and hit a couple more spots where I've heard that there's been some big fish caught. I was hoping to at least get a strike or something. But like I said, I might be working this wrong. See, that got down 4 or 5 feet that time. Okay, I'm gonna go on down. Yeah, I've come down here below Short Creek. I'm gonna throw in around these docks a little bit. Water's a lot slower down here than it is above Fall Creek. Oh. That's not good. This is kind of new to me, so if I don't look too graceful, I've got a good excuse. I know the water really gets deep in this area. It drops off this flat. This could be some big fish in this area. Okay, that was my little stretch I wanted to work there, and I'm gonna go down and work one more stretch. Let's see if I can catch something on this stick bait everybody keeps talking about. Well, Dwayne has really made him famous, although we used stick baits before. He's just catching a lot of good fish on them, so we'll see. Okay, I'm up here by the resort a ways. It's the last place I'm going to try this today, anyhow. Oh, I just had a bite. Some tapped it. Felt like a little rainbow, I guess. You will catch small rainbows on this sometimes. Okay. Looks pretty cool going through the water. Last cast. I'm down below the pump house. I think I had a bite. Pretty sure I had a bite. Lilley one. I also brought a jig. I'm up to about 20 minutes or so on this thing. One cast. One, just one. Not the best cast, but it's a little chilly. You talk about a lot of difference between throwing a jerkbait and a little tiny jig. That's the difference between throwing a jig and throwing a stick bait. It's a lot of work throwing a jig on a big jerk bait. I guess the rewards can be a lot bigger than this. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.